Hello everyone and welcome back to my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode for the British Grand Prix today, round number 11 or 12 of the championship. I've honestly lost count at this point, but here we are then for said round, and round 12 it must be, because we re-signed Grosjean at the midway point of the season last time out. Q1 we just about scraped through, down in 16th position, cutting it a bit fine there. With a pretty dodgy lap, to be honest, but nonetheless we made it through, and there are no surprise knockouts other than Guan Yu Zhou, who I thought should be getting through in that sort of racing point car, but oh well, unlucky for him. Other than that though, George Russell was the lucky Haas that got through. Q2 we are back on form and up near the top of the timing sheets as where we should be. Romain Grosjean down in 8th position, so maybe we don't have quite the pace here that we have had in recent rounds, but we'll see how things go in Q3 when things count. So here we go then, in the last portion of qualifying for our first flying lap, and getting through that first sketchy section of corners flat out, just about there, but now trying to weave our way through the tight and twisty stuff at the end of the first sector and onto the straight. Now we're a little bit too deep there, and that's going to cost us a bunch of time as we head into Brooklands and Luffield, so that's really unfortunate there. We got through the first sector pretty well, but yeah, bad run through those two corners, and that's going to cost us a bunch of times now into Copse. Probably one of the hardest corners to get exactly right. We seem to do things pretty well there, and we accidentally bumped the downshift on the way out, so that wasn't fantastic. Got flying through Maggots and Beckett's now, and through could be the correct word, missing the apex of Beckett's though, and that's going to cost us some speed all the way down the straight through Stowe, and getting it a bit wrong through there as well. So definitely some improvement to be had on this lap, but it will give us a nice benchmark for our next flyer. So around the final corner we go then, and to the line, and we are going to go P6 as things stand, only ahead, or P8 by the time everyone else sets their first flyers. But we left our second flying lap a bit late, so I'm going to have to do the outlap manually. It won't let me go to track, so yeah, we messed that one up, and I am in a rush now to get the next lap started. So let's hope that we can do it. We move on though, and we've run out of time on the straight, on Hangar Straight I believe this one is, and that is it. Qualifying is over. We're down in 9th position.
Qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top three: Hamilton, Bottas and Charles Leclerc. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
And that is it for qualifying. 9th position for us, only ahead of Matsushita, who also had a pretty rough session it seems, but yeah, that was no good. Our first lap just was not good enough, to be honest. We should have done better there. Even for a banker, it wasn't very good. And our second lap, well, we didn't even get that started, so that was just a lack of concentration on my part. Once we got into the second half of Q3, yeah, I just wasn't paying attention to the remaining time, unfortunately. We'll see what we can do.
Great Britain then, one of only 2 countries to have held a Grand Prix in every single year of the Formula One World Championship. And the circuit extends that record further for today's Grand Prix. With good opportunities to overtake at the end of the Wellington and Hangar Straights, there's a lot of potential for close action around the 3.6 miles of the Silverstone circuit. With 18 corners and average lap speeds of around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the longest and quickest circuits on the calendar. Now, Anthony Davidson, I wonder, might we be in for some early pit stops today from the midfield teams, or trying to put some pressure on, or disrupting things for the leaders up front?
If you're in the middle of the pack, you know, you got your own race to run. I don't think they're going to be thinking about causing trouble up front. However, closer to the head of the pack, don't be surprised to see some split strategies. If you're running second and third, for example, bringing one car in for an undercut while leaving the other one out there longer can put a lot of pressure on the leader and maybe force them into an error.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Grosjean, Ricciardo, Lando Norris, and Perez. Verstappen, the scientist, Matsushita, and Carlos Sainz. Bottas, Gasly, Daniel Kvyat, and Ocon. Russell, Joe, Alexander Albon, and Lance Stroll. Magnussen, De Vries, Giovinazzi, and Nicholas Latifi. That's it then, it's time to go racing, as we head to trackside for today's race.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Yes, we will certainly try to do that. Strategy pretty simple, one stop. There's not really anything fancy to do there, so we'll just get straight into it, into the race, and we'll see what we can do as we now head to the 5 red lights. And away we go for the British Grand Prix, and it's a great start for us this time as we get a superb launch off the line and down the inside, making positions into the first corner. We've got a good run here around the outside of our teammate who started a long way ahead of us. We go down the inside of him, and we're now up into 4th position. And I thought at the start of this one maybe it would be Grosjean getting a podium for us in this race, but it might be us now as we edge ahead of Romain Grosjean and find our way into the 4th position off the start. It has been an absolutely fantastic start for us, and it looks like Charles Leclerc has been able to take the lead from 2nd on the grid as well, so he's made an equally good jump and taken that 1st position for the time being, followed by Lewis Hamilton, the home favourite, and Bottas further down the order in this one with a penalty, a grid penalty, so that's unfortunate for the Finn. But anyway, as we continue through this lap now, we are going to need to try and catch up to Daniel Ricciardo. We take a while, but we do so, and now on the run into the village we go down the inside, and that is an aggressive move, but a clean one nonetheless on Daniel Ricciardo, and we're able to make that one work and get up into 3rd position in this race. It took us a long time to make that move because Ricciardo always had DRS, so we needed to search for an unconventional place to overtake. But now we've got the DRS from Lewis Hamilton. He doesn't have any assistance, and look at the absolute rocket ship we have in a straight line as we go down the inside into Stowe Corner, and that's a nice move on Lewis Hamilton, who is finding some form here after having a fairly lackluster start to the season. But Charles Leclerc has made a fantastic start in this one. He's edged away and broken DRS from Lewis Hamilton, so it's going to take a bit to catch up to him. We move on. Hamilton tried to make a move down the inside there. He's lost the back end. He may have had contact with Daniel Ricciardo there. That would have been some good reactions by the Australian if he was able to avoid that. But Hamilton down the inside, turns into the corner too early, and then has to release the steering a bit, understeers into us, and ends up spinning out. So that's unfortunate for Lewis Hamilton, but yeah, you can see Ricciardo, good reactions there to avoid what would have been a collision there. And here's the onboard from us. You can see we left him miles of space on the inside. He just turned in too early, and then that really tightened his line on the exit, and he just couldn't get the turning done to avoid contact with us. And that's Ricciardo going slowly along the Wellington Straight, and he is going to be out of this race with a mechanical failure. An absolute disaster for both of those very fast and talented drivers in very good cars this season. And Hamilton, another issue for his season. Ricciardo, that's not what he needed for his title fight. He will score no points. Hamilton still has a chance to come back. He only lost time, but Ricciardo out with a mechanical issue in that Red Bull car. What a disaster for him. But that's brought out the safety car as we have a quick check of our own front wing, which has thankfully not taken damage so far in this race. Medium tyres on, about 5 or so laps earlier than what they should have, but that won't be a problem. We'll be able to go to the end from here, so we move on. And both Mercedes cars, even Hamilton, even though he wasn't damaged, I still thought he would make a pit stop, but he's actually on the medium compound tyres. Starting on the mediums is Lewis Hamilton, but Bottas, I cannot understand why he didn't stop. As with Charles Leclerc, I'm not sure, but they haven't stopped. So we're in 4th position, and sorry, Leclerc did stop, but he's still ahead of us as he had the lead. Correction there, but yeah, I can't understand why the two Mercedes cars that didn't stop Hamilton. Maybe you can understand because he didn't want to go onto the hards, and the soft tyres wouldn't go to the end from here. But with Bottas, they definitely should have pit Bottas at this point. So yeah, real fluff up from Mercedes there, and that's going to ruin Bottas' race, unfortunately. And as for Hamilton, he's going to have to put the hammer down for the rest of this race if he wants to make up this time. So as we continue on then, you can see that is Bottas going for the move on Charles Leclerc, and we're going to run here as Bottas goes into the pit lane. We go down the inside of Charles Leclerc, and we take the effective lead as Hamilton takes the exact on-track lead. He still has to make another stop. We move up into second position, and it won't be long before Hamilton makes his stop. Meanwhile, Leclerc's trying to get back down the inside, but we give him some space on the apex and hold on to the position. He's still trying around the outside into the club section. Thankfully, we're able to hold off the Monegasque driver in the Ferrari, and we're able to stay ahead of him. So that is nice. Next up, we are going to overtake Hamilton here as he is in for his stop, and we are just plodding on in this race and ticking off the laps at this point. So that is really all we're doing at this stage of the race, and we will just continue to push until the end and hope that we are still in the lead then. But as we move on to lap 43, so a lot further into this race, and you can see we currently checkerboard the Ferraris, myself in first from Leclerc. Grosjean's made his way up into third, so it's been a good recovery for him so far as well in this race, overtaking a few cars, and Max Verstappen in fourth. But we have Leclerc right behind us, and Grosjean has been closing that gap too. But here comes Max Verstappen then behind the side, and now ahead of Romain Grosjean. Verstappen making the move, Grosjean trying to keep the fight going to the inside of Luffield as they continue to go side by side, Verstappen and Grosjean. But Verstappen's going to get there around the outside, and Max Verstappen gets up onto the podium, makes it a double podium for Ferrari. Meanwhile, we're trying to defend from Charles Leclerc into Copse. Not really what you want to do. Leclerc goes to the outside as we head towards Maggots and Beckett, and this is going to get very tight if Leclerc doesn't back out. Thankfully he does. We leave him a bit of space anyway, just in case, but Leclerc absolutely on it and trying to send it there, but thankfully he backs out right at the critical point and is able to continue on. Otherwise that would have been a nasty clip there between us. But as we continue on, missing the apex of Copse corner there, and now Leclerc's got the run as he goes to the outside of Maggots Beckett. He's further ahead. We give him the space on the inside, run a bit wide ourselves, and Leclerc slips on through as we have to now settle for second position. We'll have the DRS though as we head down towards Stowe. No, we don't actually. Charles Leclerc got that, so that's unfortunate, and Leclerc's going to pull away here. But we still have some decent straight line speed nonetheless. We continue on, and now out of Beckett's we do have a good run with the DRS. We might be able to get Leclerc back here. Look at the absolute rocket ship that we have down the inside of Charles Leclerc, taking a bit of the curb on the inside to get it done, but Leclerc can't fight back from that, and an aggressive and bold move, but we had to do that and use that DRS and that speed advantage that we had through there, and we were able to take that position back and get back up into the first position. Meanwhile, Romain Grosjean's actually found his way back up into third as well, so he's re-overtaken Max Verstappen. And as we are squabbling with Charles Leclerc here, this is getting very, very tight between the two of us, getting a little bit deep there into the village section. But we should get things back under control here as we are trying to just stay on the racing line and block off Charles Leclerc there on the exit, as we had a bit of a compromised entry. But as we continue on, Leclerc still looking around for overtakes as he has looked to the inside of Stowe. We have a little bit of a deep moment, giving him some space, but we make sure we cover him off by the time we get to the apex and continue to hold the lead. But Leclerc is really pushing us in this one and really piling on the pressure and making sure that he stays right under our gearbox. So that is going to get very, very difficult as the race goes on. I feel like I'm losing pace slightly compared to Leclerc as we get up on the inside curve at the final corner. That's given us a wobble, and that's allowed Leclerc to try and make an overtake as we head towards the first corner. We just about hold off Leclerc and make sure we maintain that position as we go defensive. Grosjean's made his way up into second. He's taken advantage of the fighting, and now Grosjean has taken second position. Good move. Didn't see how he actually did that, but as we get up on the inside curb there again, that's cost us a bit of time through Aintree, and now Grosjean has got a lot of straight line speed. Down the inside he goes into Brooklands, and he's made the move for the lead, and we can't fight back. We have a little look around the outside of Brooklands, but we just can't do anything there, and Romain Grosjean has taken the lead out of nowhere. He was fourth a few laps ago, and now the Frenchman leads here at the British Grand Prix. That is unbelievable stuff for Romain Grosjean, and he's been able to absolutely steal this one from us, as he's now pulling away. We're trying to fend off the two Ferraris who are both right behind us and also fighting with each other, so the fight for the second and third is far from over. We do have DRS from Grosjean, but we're a long way back, and we had a bad exit there out of Maggots and Beckett's, so I don't think we'll be doing anything about the Frenchman anytime soon. We continue on, and we've broken away from the Ferraris slightly, but we still have maybe a chance if we have an absolutely mega lap here to catch up to Romain Grosjean. We're going to be deploying all of the energy that we have. We don't have a lot of fuel in reserve, so we have to watch out for that, but we have plenty of energy to try and push for a fastest lap. We did get a purple first sector, so that is perfect. We'll see what we can do. If we can get into DRS range after Maggots and Beckett's, that will be a help to us, but I don't think we're going to get close enough, as we made a few little mistakes there through Maggots and Beckett's, but thankfully we still get a purple sector, but not enough to get DRS. So Romain Grosjean's got to do it here. He's going to take the win, providing nothing happens in the final few corners for us. We're just trying to get to the finish line as fast as possible and take this fastest lap if we can. Grosjean's clearly on a flyer though as well, because we're not really caught him too much on this lap, despite having two purple sectors. Grosjean crosses the line to win the British Grand Prix, takes the fastest lap. We go faster.
Good job, you did really well. Super driving.
And just about take that fastest lap point from him, and it's another 1-2 for us. But Grosjean was on fire today.
Plenty of action here at Silverstone. It was a memorable race, and what an impressive victory. And talk to me, what do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Without a doubt, the safety car changed everything today. The key to their success was keeping calm and reacting to the situation quickly. We've seen teams in the past throw away wins because they were too hesitant, but here they were decisive, and that's allowed them to take the advantage.
Welcome then to the podium, our top three drivers. What a great effort from them today in a very difficult race.
So Romain Grosjean grabs another race win here at the British Grand Prix. It's a second place for us, with Max Verstappen taking third at the end of the day there.
Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. The scientist takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
It has to be said, Romain Grosjean certainly had my eye today. He made impressive gains during the race.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. The owner-drivers team move to the top of the table. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Well, there we have it. That was an interesting one, to say the least. We had good pace and good speed all the way along, but in the end, Grosjean just came out of nowhere and ran away with it. So, yeah, well done to Romain Grosjean. That was fantastic at the end there in those last few laps. We were holding up Leclerc for a long time, to be honest. Grosjean was just closing and closing in tandem with Max Verstappen. Maybe they were helping each other, I'm not sure, but yeah, at the end of the day, the fighting between myself and Leclerc allowed them to catch up, and ultimately Grosjean finished ahead of me, and Verstappen finished ahead of the of Leclerc, so the other Ferrari. So yeah, our fighting cost us both positions in the end. So that's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, we are still in a good position. Second for us and first for our teammate, and we go from being on the edge of the title fight, you know, a few good results here and there at the start of the season, then, you know, finally getting into it recently, you know, properly. But now we've got the championship lead pretty convincingly. I think it was 9 points, which, I mean, it's you know, a race win for Bottas, or even Ricciardo could change that, but it's yeah, 15 points back to Ricciardo now, so yeah, that is not the best day for him, but he will bounce back, I am sure. Even though he had a failure today, he was still very, very quick, probably one of the fastest cars on circuit. You know, he was putting pressure on Hamilton the whole time, though Hamilton was having some issues on those medium tyres, has to be said, but nonetheless Ricciardo was keeping the pressure on, and if he had clean air he would probably be chasing after Leclerc as well. But yeah, lead in the team's championship as well by, I think that was 26 points, so a race win and fastest lap, to put that in context. So Romain Grosjean doing the job and getting those points for us as well.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts.
Okay.
You're leading the championship. Are you happy to be there or feeling the pressure?
No, well, it's the best place to be, of course. If you've got the most points at the moment, you've got the best chance of winning later. So I'm very, very happy that we've been able to reach this point so early in the season. When we started out, you know, quite slow, and we had a lot of work to do to catch up, but now we're right up to speed in the fight.
You and your teammate took the top 2 positions today. Have you got the best car out there?
Oh, it was hard to say. Those Ferraris were very, very quick, but we managed to hold them up, and Grosjean managed to make the moves.
You were cutting your way through the field during the race.
Yeah, we made a really great start. Launch off the line was absolutely fantastic, so that really saved us today.
How do you feel after your teammate's victory? Are you happy for them, or do you wish it were you?
As an owner driver, of course, the driver in me wants to win, but as a team owner, seeing the team get 1-2 is more than enough.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Thanks, Claire. So there we have it, the end of the British Grand Prix. We chose Hamilton as our new rival and probably smashed him in this one. So how's that feel, Lewis, at your home race? Not going so well. The strategy, he was the only one, I think, other than the Hasses, to start on the medium tyres. I don't know where the Hasses end up, to be honest. I didn't really look, but Hamilton ended up kind of nowhere, to be honest. So yeah, a bit of a bad strategy call by him and Mercedes to start on the medium compound tyres, which he obviously would have used in Q2. So yeah, that was not the way to go for him today with a safety car. That strategy was never going to net him a good result. So of course you don't know that beforehand. It would have been interesting to see how he went had there not been a safety car, but that safety car also, and Hamilton being slow, also helped us today, as he was fighting with Leclerc a little bit after that safety car, and Bottas as well, the 2 Mercedes, both having that fight with Leclerc helped us make the move on him as well. So it was kind of fortunate for us. But anyway, as for R&D, this time we have, as we are trying to look at what to do with the activity timeline as well. But anyway, as for R&D, we have money, so we're going to have a look at the facilities, and we're not really getting boxed in with upgrades yet, so I'm not too concerned about upgrading the car related facilities. So I'm actually going to go with the simulator facility, the personnel facility, and upgrade that because I think Grosjean could always do with a little bit more pace. He's been very, very solid, but you can never have too much pace, so that's what we are going to do.
This is probably what I'd invest in.
Carl is still recommending we go for a gearbox durability upgrade. That hasn't been an issue, so I'm definitely not going to do that. Instead, we're going to go for a drag reduction upgrade, and that will help us be an absolute rocket ship in a straight line if we weren't already. Not so useful for Hungary, but for Belgium, Circuit de Spa, and Italy, the Monza circuit coming up, that upgrade will be absolutely fantastic for us. And even Singapore has a long straight, so that is a target. Hopefully that upgrade won't fail and we'll have it for those coming races. But other than that, then there is not a lot left to cover. I will actually quickly mention I didn't use traction control throughout this entire race last time. I turned it back on halfway through the race because I wasn't really comfortable driving without it, but this time I managed to get through the whole race without traction control, and by the end of it I honestly didn't really notice. It was actually surprisingly easy to get used to around the Silverstone circuit, and I actually think I was going faster than what I could with it, so that's very good that I'm finally getting used to that. But anyway, other than that though, there is not a lot left to cover. We're going to fix that ICE durability upgrade that just failed there. Unfortunately for that, we have to spend more resource points on it, but oh well, these things happen. But yeah, now I'll finally get to finishing that sentence. I'll see you next time for the Hungarian Grand Prix, and goodbye.